Welcome everybody, it's Kathy. I'm here to show you a third card using the Gentle Waves stamp set. In two previous videos, I showed you how to make this card in the first video. Real simple stamped background, and that's coming from this Gentle Waves stamp set. Gives you a really cool effect. And this one just did some blending and some layering with the layering diorama dies. And then in the second video, I showed you how to make this card, which is kind of like a ship window, looking out of the window. She's out on the deck. And we did some fussy cutting and some distressing with some inks. Okay, and now in this video, I want to show you how to make this card. Again, it's using the Gentle Waves stamp set. And it's really simple. And it has a really cool looking effect. So let's get started. I'll show you how we do that one. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus. And I'm going to bring in the Balmy Blue ink. Put this under here. Sometimes when you're using the Stamparatus, if you put your stamp case underneath of this side, where the stamp is, it makes it easier to ink up your stamps. Just a little tip there. Okay, so let's put our cardstock down. And I'm going to ink this side up. Make sure we get some good coverage. Especially up here towards the top. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and stamp this. Okay, press that down real good, nice even pressure. Ooh, we stuck, okay. And there we go. Well, that looks pretty good. Okay. Now, in order to do the card, you're going to make a second one of these, but in a different color. I used the crumb cake color to represent the sand, and I pre-stamped that, so we've got this one here. Let's flip this around because this is the way we're going to use it. So this one is the water, this one's going to be the sand. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. And what we're going to do is take your snips. I'm just kind of going to find an area here where I can kind of follow along with the wave. And we're just going to cut it. Cut it right along the waves. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one's going to notice. Okay. I think I'll take that white part off. There we go. Okay. And then I always say these pieces because who knows what I might use it for, right? Now, there you go. There's your sand. Look at how simple that was. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two together. And we're just going to glue those right down. Then we're going to trim it to size because we're going to layer this up and make it a little bit smaller. Okay. But if you've got them glued together, it's easier to make sure that they're going to line up. So let me pull in my trimmer. Move this out of the way. And we're going to trim this down to be 5 1/4 by 4. It's kind of a standard layering size. We'll cut that piece off. And I think I'll take it, let's see. Take it off the top, I guess. 4. You can go either way. You could cut it off the top or the bottom. Either way will be fine. Okay, there we go. Now that's going to be our layer. Now I want to stamp a little bit of seagrass. Now what I pulled in was the oops, the Palms dies in the Coordinating Paradise Palms stamp set. Those are the tools we're going to use to finish off this card. So I want to do my stamping first. I'm going to pull in, oops, it's already on a block. I'm going to pull in this grass, this little seagrass look. And I'm going to stick with the Granny Apple Green color. I'm going to ink this up. I just want to stamp it on here a couple of places. So I'm kind of go down, kind of go off the edge a little bit. Put one down here. And maybe one somewhere in here. This gives it a little more interest. It's got a little bit of seagrass coming up, right? Okay, so I'm going to use that in a minute, so I'll set that aside. Now, we want to use the dies, and I used this one here, the Big Tall Palm Tree. So I've pre-die cut those. We're going to use 2 of them. I'm going to put them on here, but before we do that, it goes this way. We're going to color it in with some blending brushes. Let me just bring in my scribbly scratch paper here. And we're going to use Crumb Cake and Granny Apple Green. Okay. Now you want to, because this color here was also Crumb Cake, we want this to be darker than this, so it has a little more contrast. So you want to make sure you get a fair amount of ink, and you're probably going to go over it. I'm just going to kind of wipe down. You're going to go over it multiple times to get to the color you really want it to be. Okay, and I'm not worried about it getting on the leaves. That's totally fine. So I'm going to color that in. Let's see how that's going to look. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let's pull in the other one. Do the same thing. Super fast and simple. Using the die and your blending brush and an ink pad. Now I'm not really doing a lot of, because this is very fragile, you don't want to do too much, moving around with it. So I'm just kind of holding it in place and wiping down. Okay. Now let's put that brush aside and we'll do the Granny Apple Green. Get some ink up on this one. And then we're just going to hold this down and we're going to kind of do the same thing, just kind of blend. I want to do a little bit darker in the center so there's some variation in color. Okay, yeah, I like that. That looks good. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, start in the center and then kind of blend out. Get a little darker in the center, and there you go. Okay, so I think we're done with this Granny Apple Green. Now we're going to go ahead and adhere these in place. And I kind of want one to go this way and one to go kind of this way. So we'll bring in my liquid glue. And we'll put just a little bit. Again, when you're using liquid glue, you don't want to put too much because it'll come squirting out everywhere, all over your project, all over your fingers. Sometimes you can just put a little bit and then kind of spread it around with the tip of the glue dispenser. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom because we're going to be snipping those edges off. Okay, so put this up here. Somewhere in here. Yeah, that looks good. Press that down. And do the same thing with the other one. A little bit of glue there. Spread it up a little bit. A little bit of glue on this one. Okay. Now let's pull this one up. And we'll have him kind of going off this way, I think. Yeah, somewhere in there is good. Okay. Press that down. We're going to take our snips. We're going to snip off those pieces because we don't need those. Let's move this out of the way so we don't get ink all over ourselves. And there's your beach scene. Isn't that cute? Now we're going to just take this and mount it on our card base. Put some Stampin' Seal on here. And put that down. You could put it up on dimensionals, but I kind of decided there was enough happening with this one. I'm just going to put it straight down. Okay. Then we're going to put our greeting. We have to stamp our greeting. Set this aside. And we're using the Happy Birthday stamp from the Paradise Palm stamp set. I'm going to bring in the crumb cake ink. Ink that up real good. Okay, we're going to stamp this. And I got a little bit of ink on there, where we don't want it. Just flip that over and do it again. Okay. Now, I'm going to die cut this out using the die from, what did I use? I used this Designer Tags dies set, which is a really cute set. Very versatile set, but I just pulled in this little guy here. I'm going to die cut that out. Bring in the mini cut and emboss machine. And our plates. Okay, let's put this down here. And we'll put this over top and line that up. And go a little bit further this way, I think, maybe. And it's a tight fit, so I'm going to go ahead and use my washi tape to make sure this doesn't move around on me. Put our top plate on and run that through. Okay. Alright, there we go. So got that done. And set this aside. Pull off our die cut. And there we go. That's cute. Okay, now I want to put some twine on there. I think that would look really good. It's a linen thread, I should say. Whenever I have these, I like to leave them in the bag when you get these rolls. So it makes it really easy to just kind of hold on to it down here and give it a pull. And you can pull as much as you need without the bag or the roll going everywhere. I don't know how many times I've dropped them on the floor and get really frustrated. So I'm just going to, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to tie it through it and then I'll tie a bow. Let's do this. And we'll just tie it. Tie it on here. And then we'll tie a bow. Alright, let's reel it back down because it doesn't need to be that big, does it? Okay. Pull those in a little bit. There we go. Now we'll just trim off our edges. And there's your greeting. Let's bring our card back in. Put some dimensionals on the back. Gotta have some dimensionals somewhere, right? There we go. And put our greeting on. Somewhere in there. There we go. And that's it. Now you could also take, you know me, I have to have a little sparkle, so a little bit of Wink of Stella. Kind of add a little glistening shimmer to our trees if you want. You don't have to. but I think it just adds a little extra something to it. And that's it. Really cute. And again, the Gentle Wave stamp set is retiring. These are the two cards that I made today. And if you want to get this stamp set, make sure you snag it up before it's gone. These were 2 from the previous videos. But I just love how simple it is to make some really cute designs for your cards or scrapbook pages or whatever you want to use them for. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and have a great day. Thanks.